Spin Master decides to take the Man of Steel for a spin. Here's your look at the brand new Superman movie. This is the Build-A-Superman robot, Superman. Unleash the power of your favorite characters from the Superman movie with this 6-inch action figure line, where bold heroism meets epic play. Crafted with authentic Superman movie styling, these figures capture the essence of the iconic superheroes and supervillains, ready to take on any challenge. Now, though, before we start building ourselves a bot, we take the tape measure and we see how tall the Superman figures are, this time from Spin Master. I know we've spent so much time on this channel as of late looking at the offerings from McFarlane Toys. Let's just see how the movie toy tie-in figures look from the folks over at Spin Master. Taking, of course, the tape measure right to the very top of his head. He's not going to stand the same size guarantee. He's going to be a little bit smaller. This, though, Superman is going to stand at 6 inches in height, or about 15 centimeters tall. I know it's not really fair to bring this one in, but just to show you guys what the two Superman look like from two different companies. Obviously, the Spin Master Superman is a little bit shorter. He goes only maybe to about the Superman crest on McFarlane's release. Now, in order to build this Superman robot, you need to collect 6 figures. We're looking first at Superman. Obviously, also it works as well, too, that the Superman figure is going to come include with the robot's body, and it will kind of just snap on the parts to that. The other figures from this line will be Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, and the Engineer. I think, in fact, actually, Spin Master has beaten McFarlane Toys to the punchline. They've already done an Engineer. We still don't have one from the DC Multiverse release. Let's, though, look at the body here, if it doesn't roll away on me. This is the body that we get from the Superman robot. I think maybe when we eventually build this all together, I'm not going to do it just yet, but I'll bring in the Superman robot that we've also gotten from Todd and his team. There's not really much in the way of posability that I can see, at least. It doesn't look like the head moves up and down or anything like that. This is, again, Robot 4. Still, we get Robot 4. What's happened to Robot 12? Of course, the lower half of the body is going to come include with Hawkgirl. Either one of the arms are going to be from Mr. Terrific and the Green Lantern, and then the lower legs are going to be from Metamorpho and the Engineer. And then, of course, we have ourselves a finally finished figure. I suppose they probably could have easily also done 5 figures instead of the 6, but with the length of the robot likely being the same torso-wise as Superman, it probably makes the most sense that they would have had the abdomen as a separate piece. By the way, it does have a real fabric cape. This is also something, too. Like, this Superman has, as well, a real fabric cape, so it's nice to see that. In fact, actually, the fabric cape, for the most part, looks pretty good. If you were to compare this with some of the earlier offerings from Spin Master, a lot of days back in the day, they would have done more of a plastic cape. The only thing I don't really love is the fact that they attach the cape the way that they do. I mean, there's clearly a part here where the front of his torso is suggested cape, only molding it in plastic. Well, then the real fabric cape is actually rooted on the back of his body. It loses some of the illusion, but considering, though, that this figure is usually selling for around $15, the McFarlane stuff is closer more to around $35. So it's a $25 difference. I think if certainly an entryway into a kid's toy line, the Spin Master one is probably the better offering, just because, again, it's a cheap figure, one that if you find luckily on shelves, which I was having a hard time to find these in stores, these would be ideal to give to a kid, because, again, if they're going to be roughhousing with these and being rough with them, you're not likely as worried about these potentially break-ins. Maybe a figure like, even like the Director's Cut theatrical edition Superman, which was more close around $45. The head sculpts, I guess, while we're really holding the two, I mean, obviously there's a lot more sculpt that went into McFarlane's release, but you know what? I was pleasantly surprised to see that the Spin Master isn't bad at all. I mean, it doesn't look as much like David, but I think it's still close enough for being a retail release kids toy line. One thing, unfortunately, though, is that they've spent a lot of time to paint the face. They didn't spend nearly as much time to paint the neck, so there's 2 color differences there. It's pretty close, though, but I mean, obviously it looks like his neck is a little dirtier. I like the coloring that they've used for this torso and really for the rest of the blue. It's a little bit darker, again, to bring back in McFarlane's release. It's a much richer looking blue, and I feel like actually this blue might even be closer to the film than what we got from the DC Multiverse. The emblem is nicely sculpted there as well. It's raised. They didn't just simply label that on. And again, while he does have the panel lining, I don't love the panel lining myself. It's faint enough, it's subtle enough that it doesn't look like it just takes over the figure sculpting. The lower trunks down below, again, those are nicely done. While this looks like it's a different red altogether than the tops of his legs, it's color matching seems to be a bit of an issue when it comes to what we're getting from Spin Master. But I think, again, you kind of have to look at this line as a whole and realize mass retail release figures, the price point's pretty low on them anyways. I think you're getting still pretty decent looking figures. And again, you got the peg holes and the bottoms of the feet. The thing that really surprised me, honestly, the most is the amount of posability that this guy actually packs. Again, to go back to his head sculpt here, this Superman's going to have a ball joint. I say a ball joint. It's more sort of suggested a ball joint, because you can certainly move the head back and forth. You really can't do all that much up and down. I mean, nor can you really move it back and forth. It's really just rotation back and forth. It might not even be a ball joint. I mean, with what little it actually moves, it could essentially just be a figure's head pegged on top of the neck. The arms rotate all the way around. This was the thing that really surprised me the most. I was really thinking and expecting the arms to only really do this and the legs to only do this. But then to go back and look at these, when the moment you get out of that packaging, to realize that the figures actually possess a T-pose, that's pretty impressive. The figure does only have a single hinge in the elbow, but the elbow at least rotates back and forth. The hands don't rotate. They're one thing, unfortunately, that has to be sacrificed when it comes to budget. But again, I don't mind. I don't mind that the figure doesn't have any swivels in his wrists. I mean, if that's one thing he has to do away with, if it means that his legs can do this, sort of like see our victories and just sort of take our losses. If we lose this, but we gain this, that's not a bad thing at all. The legs go forward, the legs go back, a little bit of a swivel at the top, not much there. There's a single hinge on the knee, which struggles. I struggle to bend this knee. I don't know why. This knee is bending fine. This knee on the other knee is really tight, to the point I almost feel like I'm going to break it. No leg articulation. There's not really much there that you can do. But at least what you can do is where that knee is bending, it does also rotate. So while you don't get anything down here, you get something at least up here. Yeah, it's a good looking figure. I mean, obviously, I said this a couple of times too, like you really have to look at a figure and you have to approach it with how much this figure sells for on the shelves. Yeah, if you did want a better looking Superman with maybe a better looking sculpt, you could go the route of getting the one from McFarlane Toys, where it does have the wire built into the cape. It does have maybe better sculpting, better articulation clearly. But you know, for a figure that's selling for $14 here in Canada, and for how much it actually is able to do, I think that's a marvelous feat on Spin Master's part. Because like so easily they could have just had swivels on the arms, you know, swivels on the legs and called it a day. But the fact that this Kal-El can do as much as he can, that's something quite rather interesting. You know, it does have a few little areas that unfortunately aren't perfect, like the way really that the cape pegs into on the torso. There's really no way around. I mean, if you lift this back, you kind of see where it's slotted on the back of his body. That's unfortunately a cost that had to be cut. And again, like some of the paint doesn't really quite match, like to the tops of the legs, and especially like the neck. The neck is a little on the paler side. But you know, again, like for a budget-friendly Superman, one which by the way, so far is beating Todd to the punchline when it comes to figures. We've already gotten a Green Lantern. They've done a Green Lantern. They've done a Hawkgirl. They've done an Engineer that all allow you to build a Superman robot. Up to this point, we are missing all those three figures when it comes to stuff from DC Multiverse. I know eventually we're going to still get it, but Spin Master beat McFarlane Toys to it. Look, I wasn't expecting a perfect-looking Superman, but I wasn't expecting at all to get the amount of posability that this guy ended up having in his body. Yes, he doesn't have it in his waist, and he doesn't have it in his hands, and I don't think those are either parts that need to have it in the first place. If a budget needs to be saved anywhere, posability would be the best place to start looking. I don't want them to sacrifice a sculpting in favor of something that they can produce for a cheaper cost. The sculpt, I think, for the most part, is pretty good. You know, with this being a $15 figure, and I keep saying $15 figure, but you really have to, again, look at the price of what these companies are producing and releasing these figures for. For a figure that I can give to my daughter, if she has any interest at all in playing with a Superman figure, or a Superman figure that you can give to your kid and play with without any worry that if something breaks on it, you know, you're not paying a $50 figure in order to do that. This figure, for what it is, and again, what it is, it's delivering a pretty good looking likeness of the Man of Steel. It could have always been better, but really at the end of the day, you're getting a good looking Superman. And this is one of the cool things where we get a movie tie-in license that's being split between two companies. You can see what McFarlane Toys is doing with all of their release of the DC Multiverse, but then you can also see what Spin Master is doing too. Spin Master, I think, is approaching this line more with fun in mind. Todd is releasing their figures with the idea of catering to collectors. In the end, though, Superman fans are benefiting from getting properties, getting the licensing done from two different companies. This one, again, we're going to be building the Superman robot, whereas we actually got a full-out Superman robot released by Todd McFarlane. This time we get to have a little bit more fun. We get to build this guy from scratch. What do you guys, though, think of the Spin Master Superman? Let me know down below in the comment section. I think for, again, what he's offering, I think it's a pretty good price for a pretty good figure. Let me know what you guys, whether you agree with that or disagree with that in the comments down below. If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. We are going to be, by the way, looking at a whole bunch of Spin Master Superman toys. Not only will we be building a Superman robot, but we're going to be also looking at some of the other offerings that they're planning for the Superman movie as well. So hoping that you guys are going to be coming back for those videos. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.